So, hello everyone. This is a rectangular Wrangle table with Rock Wrangle.
Yes, that's me.
And we're going to be going over video games this week and probably in the future when it's just he and I. Sometimes there's video game news that are particular to us, and so we want to spend some time to go over that. The thing I felt about addressing was the PlayStation 5 Unreal Engine 5 tech demo.
Yeah.
Or, in simpler terms, a new, nice-looking video promising the graphics of tomorrow. I've already seen this, but we're going to go through it again and kind of have some opinions I wanted to share and see what you all think as well. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Brian Karras, Technical Director of Graphics here at Epic Games. Hi, I'm Joe Petto.
I like their background.
Yeah, it is
A
nice.
few years ago, we got together as a team and brainstormed.
You know how they got the money to afford that? Fortnite.
Oh, they're the Fortnite makers?
The first
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Plus, of course, Unreal. So they actually are doing really well. I mean, I think Fortnite's popularity has simmered down a little, but I'm sure they're
Still going.
I mean, I'm sure it was successful for. It's still successful. No way it isn't.
And there's enough kids out there still buying all the DLC.
artists wouldn't have to be concerned about the polygons, draw calls, memory. We directly use film quality assets to bring them straight into the engine. And that's
Now, to be fair, I don't quite understand everything they're saying.
Yeah. Now, from what I heard is allegedly that developers seem to be relatively hopeful about this. Is what I heard.
There has been feedback on it.
Yeah, positive feedback as far as I can tell. I
Were
mean,
they paid to say that?
I don't know. We'd have to see. I didn't do too much research really.
You have to be investigative, Rock.
That's not my strong suit. But do you think this is random? But do you think this will be part of an actual game, or do you think it's purely proof of concept for the graphics?
What I've seen them do in the past is it has some. It shares some assets with the real game, but it's not maybe a game in itself.
Much of what you see was built with Pixel Megascan assets. But instead of using the game version,
I don't know if it's, and so I'm going to start off right away. I don't know if it's just the Uncanny Valley or if it's just me.
there are around 1 million.
But while this looks good,
The virtual text
it doesn't look like the major leap forward that one would think.
Then I can render
If you've ever seen, Unreal Engine demos before, it's usually such a reach into the future. It's almost a little bit, untruthful. But I don't know if this is a more honest approach.
This isn't noise.
I'm not as overwhelmed as I hoped that would be.
My only counter argument is that obviously we're PC, we play PC, so it's kind of like, this is on a PlayStation 5. So I think for the PlayStation or for consoles, it's probably more of a big deal. But since we're used to just playing on a already better system, technically, it's kind of like, oh well. Now I think what would be more interesting, of course, if they did a PC Unreal Engine 5 showcase.
Right.
Maybe that would be a little bit.
See, I'd
more
be alright
fun.
with that. I'd be alright with them not making it console specific. Let it be on PC. Let them just rip and show the very best they could possibly do, and then give that something to measure for future games instead of just doing a console.
I'm sure that Sony probably has some kind of deal with them, of course, and that's why I'm sure coming up to the release of it, I'm sure we'll see something PC related. But for now, I think because what would be considered a good quality PlayStation 4 game. I just played Final Fantasy 7.
Right.
And in my opinion, this has some quality advantages here, I would say. While it is very detailed, this is even more so. Just it's one up on it.
Yeah, a little bit more attention to detail, better dynamic range.
Yeah. I think also another thing.
I hate the way the water looks though. That's just awful.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah. So I think also because I feel like with games, we're very peculiar about, obviously, also like the art style of games. Even in more realistic games, I feel like I don't feel that this showcase is very artistically infused. Like we're seeing very basic. Like even I would argue even The Witcher has nuances to its realism.
And if you look back on The Witcher 3 now, it's starting to look dated.
Yeah, that is true.
And I didn't realize that until I just played a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it because of, just like you said, the art style. Art direction can be timeless, even when the graphics start to get old.
But I also think another big thing that we're missing is that I think one of the things they're also pushing is how easy it is to make this quality of environment. Or even for beginner developers, they're saying that, oh, they've streamlined some processes, so it'll be easier for people learning, but also maybe even obviously high AAA titles to easily get high quality.
Okay, I could see that then. I could see this being a message of, hey, look how easy this can be. Perhaps this isn't the total scale of what can be done.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah.
This doesn't feel like enough to me. That is impressive, the dynamic range. But it's not such a far cry from some of the graphics I've seen in was it Rise of the Tomb Raider? The latest
yeah.
one?
Although, weren't you having graphical gripes with that as well?
Right, it wasn't enough. And but here, this to me looks just the same. And once again, I'm saying it's not enough. Compared to, I mean, this is heralding the future. This is what their technology will take us, and costs a pretty penny in doing so. This is not enough of a promise to me.
Now, once again, we have yet to see the PC. I mean, but I think what will possibly convince you would be if they showed more gameplay and it looking good throughout. I think that would, especially, and then obviously, if this level of quality is realistic and the PlayStation 5 and Unreal are able to stay true to this quality, I think once we get our hands on a PlayStation 5 and a game, we'll feel like, oh, okay, this is better than the PS4.
Yeah, perhaps, there's a world we actually feel connected with, and seeing it in dynamic range would be influencing.
Like, I feel like it would have been cooler if, I mean, I don't know if are they planning any God of War sequels?
Yes.
It would have been cool, in my opinion, if this was, instead of whatever this is God of War. Yeah, or, something recognizable.
An actual IP.
Yeah, an actual IP with maybe a little bit of a stronger direction.
There you go. So, not only a tech demo, but an announcement for an upcoming game.
Yeah, I think
they've kind of done that in the past, and it's double whammy.
Yeah. I think for PlayStation 5 too, because, what is it? Is that, in my opinion, I don't want to say this in like an arrogant way, but I think we're technically more... Okay, one quick side note. The physics here do feel a little, like, I don't know, a little off. But what I was saying originally is that we take our games very seriously. And someone said that there are a good amount of people that don't care about graphics at all in terms of consoles, but what games will be available.
To an extent.
To an extent.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's such an egregious gap in graphics,
right,
then there'll be some contemplation. But I think for the most part, I mean, the whole console wars are about, one of the big parts is exclusivity.
Right.
So I felt, the reason I'm bringing that up is if they had shown something here, I feel like it would have been even more potent.
Yeah.
On both ways.
And yeah, so not only is this how good Sony is going to harness the Unreal technology, because Microsoft will as well.
Yeah.
But here's the iteration. Here's the God of War, or the a Square Enix title that maybe would be exclusive, or especially Naughty Dog.
Oh yeah.
You know, those two things married together in this announcement would have been much more poignant.
Yeah. Now the only thing is, my curiosity is because obviously it takes time for a studio to learn a new system like that. I wonder if The Last of Us 2 will be finished in Unreal Engine 4, or whether they'll switch over to... Well, they probably did.
That's a good question. I wonder what engine they use.
Because it's coming out in a month or two.
Right. By the way, looking forward to that game. Mixed feelings about the first one.
Yeah.
But I think what I want to do, I'm going to try to get a capture card in time for it to come out. And so a couple announcements. Going to play that through live so you see my actual initial reactions. But also, we do intend to finish Resident Evil 3. We had a whole bunch of scheduling issues, mostly related to myself, but we're going to get back on that as well. But I'm going to start trying to catch up with new releases and kind of share reactions with the world and maybe convince some of you to play along. So The Last of Us 2, you know, another recommendation of what we're playing right now is actually Terraria.
Yeah.
You know, any of you that like Minecraft or the Animal Crossing, it's a different kind of title, but yet it's connected. It's, you know, gathering resources, building your town, a little bit more combat heavy in a good way. Combat is pretty strong. Maybe what are some of your views and your experience with the game?
Yeah, I think it's because, well, especially with this update, they already took...
They just refreshed it.
Yeah, they took a already complex game and added just a layer of polish that makes it really nice. But I feel like, yeah, it's a great game for anyone who wants to get into a long game that you can
it's epic.
Yeah, that you want to take your time with. You'll really enjoy it. And because I've already put 250 hours into it.
Yeah.
And
it's deep.
Yeah.
It's nuanced.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot you can play. You can build stuff. You can fight. You can do
fish.
A lot of, yeah, you can fish for those who you like passive, enjoyable. Well, I like fishing too, but still, there's a lot there. And I think
for us older gamers,
playing Animal Crossing nonstop.
So yeah, definitely recommend it. I've been enjoying it. We've been playing it together. Not quite something that would fit into a video, but definitely recommend. I actually stole some footage from us playing today, so I'll put that in while we're talking about it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, maybe just to close off the video, you just recently finished Final Fantasy VII. That was the big tentpole video game for the first part of the year. What were some of your impressions?
It did look really nice graphically speaking.
Unreal Engine 4, right?
It had to be. There's no way it was the 5.
Yeah.
But I think just artistically speaking, it fell a little flat. Unfortunately, not to rag on him too much, but I think Tetsuya Nomura is either overworked or I think he needs a break. Because I feel like both Kingdom Hearts 3 and this...
They feel a little stretched. And even just watching you play them, that was the impression I came away with.
And the gameplay... Well, actually, 7's gameplay was decent. I feel like it could have been a little better. I
was expecting a little bit more visceral combat.
In what way? Sorry?
A little faster, a little bit more dynamic. The more you hit people, the more like sparks would be flying off, and maybe even parrying, things like that. I don't know. It looked a little bit more pedestrian in terms of combat than I was expecting.
Yeah, I don't...
Maybe visually. Maybe playing it is different, but visually it felt a little understated.
I could see that. Yeah.
Except for the last boss fight, but that looked pretty good.
Yeah. I think, what is it? And then obviously there's a whole thing about it's only like the small chunk of the original game.
Yeah, part 1 of 6 or something like that.
Probably. 1 of 9 technically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
And $60.
There's a lot of concern about whether they'll be able to finish it, whether they want to, and how fast. But I think, I'm looking forward to the next installments, especially for the characters in the story. But yeah, our only hope is that if they continue and they're successful, that they just improve. I think would be the nicest and biggest ask. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was supposed to play it myself, and while I do have limited time, I do make time for things that really pop out to me, and unfortunately, it just didn't feel like enough. And I do maybe plan to play it at some point, but I'll probably end up playing Death Stranding first before I even play Final Fantasy VII, even for the channel as well. But Well, actually, probably The Last of Us 2 before anything else. But yeah, not quite what I was hoping for. I'm kind of still glad that they did it and introduced it to a whole new generation.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the building block foundation for what will come for the future installments, iterations. But Square Enix could do a little bit better. Please keep trying.
Yeah.
We need you.
Yeah.
Man. So that's all. There's a few other items, but I think maybe we could save it for next time. Anything else you got?
Nothing too big, not that I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah, I think that's some of the bigger points.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, more good stuff in the future.
Bye-bye.
Bye.